Alright, welcome to another episode of Soto Desperado Plays Star Wars The Old Republic. We were just starting to get into this thing. And we ended the last video right here. Let's see. I'm here, I'm going to eventually get to here, which is part of the main thing. But I have to go around and kill a bunch of people here. Alright, so let's see. I had Joey the Gypsy last time. I have him again. How they sell their souls and why. The entertainment industry.
Probably be doing some ranting and raving during this video, but I know exactly what it's going to be about. So, I've got a list of videos, but this is the one I feel like talking about right now. So, and I made this video months ago. I just didn't like it. I was stuttering too much. If you see me stuttering a lot in a video, that means I've already filmed it multiple times and I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? So in some of my videos, I'm just like, you know, it's because I've already filmed it a shitload of times. I don't know what points I've made in previous videos. You know what I mean? I hate when that happens. But so this last one, I was like, this is an important one. So forget it. I'm going to leave it alone for a couple of weeks and see. And eventually I'll feel like doing it again, because by the time it was done multiple times, I was like, I don't like it. And they seem to just be getting worse each time, because there's no script for my videos. You know what I mean? I feel like if I write it all out, it's just not the same. When I'm speaking off the top of my head, it's more genuine, I guess. So let's talk about the entertainment industry. And really, people think it's hard to succeed in the entertainment industry. It's probably the easiest thing in the world to succeed in it. Now, you really think it's that hard to act? It's not a hard thing to do. Anybody can act. What it comes down to is, how good are you at lying? That's what acting is. Sometimes I'll be watching a movie. You know what? It occurred to me. Now, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. And it's funny because someone was just talking to me about The Doors recently. But so, that movie about Jim Morrison and The Doors. I think Jim Morrison is from St. Pete or Clearwater. I should look up where, you know, I'm probably not far from where Jim Morrison grew up. But Jim Morrison is the lead singer of The Doors. Anyways, they made that movie about The Doors. I forget what it's called, but Val Kilmer plays Jim Morrison. And at one point, I probably should rewatch the movie, because I'll never forget, I was watching him act like Jim Morrison, being real belligerent and this and that. And I'm thinking to myself, how psychotic does a person have to be be sitting there pretending to be someone else and doing it this well? I mean, he was so... I mean, you got to realize he's acting. It's not... He's being someone else. That, to me, that's almost mental illness. I understand in our society it's a job, but really, it requires a certain amount of... what's that word? Not psychopath, sociopath. It requires a lot of sociopathic tendencies to be a good actor. And you ever see these actors doing these heartfelt speeches about the war in Ukraine or the war in Israel or the starving children, and they're on the verge of tears. They're so passionate about it. And it's like, you know, after they're done with their little impassioned commercial, it's probably like, cut. They're like, all right, give me some coke and hookers. You know what I mean? It's like, it's bullshit. So, I was in a movie. People mention it in the comments occasionally. How I got in that movie. What's the movie called? Good Time? I've never even seen it. Everyone tells me it's good. I haven't seen it. In the movie, I play white inmate number 1. They even made me an IMDb. Joseph McDevitt, his one role is white inmate number 1. I'm just some dude in jail. Yeah, the movie's called Good Time. The Safdie brothers who made that movie, the reason I had any connection to them at all was they made a movie about one of my best friends, Ilya Leontiev. Although I guess it was more about Ariel, his girlfriend. aka Harley. The movie Heaven Knows What. My best friend at the time, Ilya, is Ariel's boyfriend in the movie, and it's a true story. Um, it's a movie, but it's based on a true story. And anyways, that's not what this video is about. But that's how I met the Safdie brothers, and then Eleanor, who does a lot of the casting for them. She's a hottie, bro. Anyways, she messaged me out of the blue, like, "Do you want to be in a movie?" I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "All right, get your ass down to the Queens County Jail on this day. I'm gonna need you to fill out some paperwork so we can pay you, and then it's gonna be a long day, even though you're only in one scene. You'll be there all day, but we're gonna pay you, so don't worry about it." I'm like, "Sounds good to me." And I go down there, and I'm in the movie, and that's that. Now, it's not like I think everyone in the entertainment industry is evil or terrible or this or that. The Safdie brothers are cool. They were always cool to me. Eleanor, I think she pronounces it Eleanor, but I'm used to saying Eleanor. She's a cute, hot, chick, friendly and nice and everything. So, it's not like I don't like these people, and I appreciate her giving me this opportunity. They paid me well for one day's work. I got paid real well, and acting is easy. It's a whole lot of sitting around and waiting and watching the movie get made, and then it's your turn, and you sit there and you do what they tell you to do, and it's real simple. You know what I mean? The part I was playing was not a hard part to play. A chimpanzee could have done it. So, you got to realize that the entertainment industry, they act like, "Oh, he's the greatest actor of all time." It's like, anyone can do it. You just got to be fucked up enough in the head to be real passionate about lying. So, you got to realize, I personally, and the whole thing with singers and shit, is it really that uncommon for someone to have a good singing voice? It's really not that uncommon. They're everywhere. There's people who can sing everywhere. There's people who are passionate about it. There's people who love it. But what separates the celebrities from the rest of them? Because it's not like, let's be real. On America's Got Talent, or whatever those shows, American Idol or whatever, how many of those people in the auditions, they can actually sing real well? And here's the other thing you got to realize. 95% of the talented people have nothing, they don't even show you anything about them on the show, because there's so many of them. There's so many people who can fit this mold of just being attractive with not, just a little bit of talent. My point here is, they can turn anyone into a celebrity. Anyone. You with, I don't care if you have no talent for singing or dancing. There was Jim Gaffigan. He's a pretty funny comedian, although I do feel he's been subverted by the industry at this point. But he's got a funny joke where he goes, "Yeah, in Hollywood they say when you can sing, dance, and do stand-up, or no, you can act, sing, and do stand-up, you're a triple threat." It was sing, dance, and act or something. He's like, "They call you a triple threat." He goes, "To me, that sounds like the least threatening person on earth. They can sing and act and dance. A triple threat." But anyways, it's like, how hard is it to find someone who can sing or act or dance? It ain't fucking hard. They can turn anyone into a celebrity, is my point. So it's not like they're combing the nation looking for the most talented actors and the most talented comedians and the most talented singers and dancers, because those are pretty common talents. You can find them in a crack house. Another one that cracks me up is rappers. People are like, "Man, he's the greatest rapper ever." Like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, all a rapper does is make rhymes. Like, elementary school kids can write these little raps that they, here's how they succeed in rap nowadays. Now, The last real big rapper out of New York City, I guess, was probably K-Flock. I barely pay the shit any mind anymore. The only reason I was paying attention to K-Flock is because he's from the Bronx, and I've lived in the Bronx, and they had this whole gang war going on in the Bronx when I was living in the Bronx. So, and one of them kids got killed right where I get on the train. I'm like, damn, this shit's popping off right in my neighborhood, you know? Well, here's the thing about dangerous neighborhoods with the gangs and shit. If you're not in a gang, they don't care about you. It's like you're invisible to them. They're not concerned with you. They're concerned with each other. But so now K-Flock, the reason he got famous, that Bronx drill shit would, you know, it's the same as Chicago drill or Brooklyn drill or all that other, you know, it's a type of rap. But it's not like they were. You can look up random rappers from anywhere in the country on the internet, and they're all equally talented. They're all about the same, realistically. But the reason K-Flock got famous is because he was going live. He was going into the ops neighborhoods, which is the enemy neighborhoods, and he was going live on Instagram and yelling out the window, challenging the ops and shit like that. And there was shootings going back and forth. I mean, I don't think he was filming any of the actual shootouts or anything, but rumors were floating around. People were getting dropped, and K-Flock was involved in it and all that. And so his lives started getting more and more popular. And so basically what it takes to succeed in rap nowadays is you have to basically be literally in a gang war and be literally willing to kill people, and that's what the music industry is rewarding right now. That's what the rap industry is rewarding right now. It's encouraging kids to kill each other over crack money. I don't even know if they're fighting over money. They're fighting over, oh, you're from that block, I'm from this block, somebody's got to die. It's that type of dumb shit. So, you know, the reason they do these things mainly is because this is what the rap industry rewards. This is how you succeed in rap nowadays. Now, you know, this is how you sell your soul to the devil. People think like, you know, some man in a black suit comes up and has you sign a contract in blood and sell your soul to him. No, it's all very subtle. They don't say anything outright. It's just these kids are basically raised in a situation where they believe the only way they're going to get the money and the girls and the Bugattis and the Lambos and, you know, hanging out in Miami on the weekends, the only way they're going to get the money to do all that shit, they're wearing the Amiri and all that shit, they want to dress in all the, you know, $800 pair of jeans and shit. So the only way they're going to get that is if they rap. And if the only way they're going to succeed in rap is if they're willing to kill and die for it. So this is what the music industry doesn't come out and say it, but that's the situation. If they want to succeed in rap, that's what they got to do. Those are the rappers who get famous. Look at any of the rappers who came out of New York recently. It's K-Flock, what's his name? What's that? 22 G's, Coach the Ghost, all them.
My lord?
There was another gang war in Brooklyn, but those are the ones that get famous. So, and I gotta be honest, I grew up listening to rap, and I do like the music. I can't even help myself. I'm programmed. But what I don't like is how the music affects me. It turns me into this ignorant, stupid person who, you know what I mean? So I do like the music. I like K-Flock's music. I like 22 G's. I like Coach the Ghost. All them. What's his name? The other one that just went to jail. He didn't just go to jail. What the hell's his name?
I suppose I have the time.
You know, look up if you're interested in this. 22 G's was going to war with Chef G. Chef G ended up in jail.
By cheap
I mean, you got to see the text messages they were sending back and forth over open lines of communication, speaking in somewhat code, but it's not like it's hard to understand. They're talking about, oh, we got to go kill this guy and this and that. speaking in code, but anyways, you got to realize that, in my opinion, they're being manipulated and brainwashed into doing these things because they want to be rich and famous rappers, banging chicks left and right with all the. That's what they want. Now, in the acting industry, it's the same thing, except the guidelines are a little different. They don't want you out there getting in shootouts and killing each other. What they do want is for you to push certain political messages, which, you know, if you're not pushing them, if you're not willing to push them, they're not going to be too interested in it, because there's a billion people who can act well. That's not a hard thing to find. What they're looking for is people they can control, people they can say, you know, if they said to them, like, I want you to press this button and it's going to erase 10 cities, will you do that for the money and the fame? That's the type of people they want. Now, the only reason I know this is because I was in the entertainment industry for a little while. I was on the very outskirts of it, don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that I was this close to blowing up or anything, although, to be honest, I could have gone that route, but God was looking out for me. And I'm grateful it didn't work out the way it did. So I'll explain my situation. I was doing stand-up comedy. Now, in a lot of ways, I felt I was forced into doing stand-up comedy. I was willing to live a normal life. I've never been a real greedy person. I just wanted a nice house with a nice family with a bunch of kids. Growing up, I had planned on having a whole bunch of kids. But as reality started setting in, I was realizing as I was getting older, that's going to take a lot of money. And so I was doing construction because I was figuring eventually I'll start my own construction company and I'll start making a whole bunch of money. Didn't work out that way. Financial crash, 2008, all that. Anyways, so that's when I started doing stand-up because I felt I had nothing to lose. I didn't care about anything anymore. I had no idea about the industry. I was figuring, if I'm good at this, I'll succeed at it. That's what I was thinking. And so I'll never forget the first open mic I went to was in Clearwater, Florida at Coconuts Comedy Club. It used to be on US 19 down by, I think, Gulf to Bay, maybe? I don't know. But the club ain't there no more. Anyways, my first day there, well, I went to the open mic a bunch of times just to watch the other comedians to see what I was up against. And after going to that 6 times or so, I was like, I can do this. And so, yeah, I'm not going to tell the story. I ended up bombing, but that's not even, that has nothing to do with the story. So I go there, and there's one of the comedians outside, and I'm like, so how do you get paid in this? And they're like, you got to have headshots, and you got to have a half hour of clean material, and all this shit. And as it turns out, that's all dead wrong. Like, no, you don't need really any of that. But here's another funny thing about stand-up comedians. None of them will tell you how much they get paid. The only ones who will probably talk about money are the ones who are famous because they're making a lot of money, because they're heavily promoted. None of them, in my opinion, and I know some of these people. I know them. They're nice people, and deep down, they're good people. They try to be. And so it's not like I dislike them. The people who have succeeded that I know, I'm glad for them. I really am. But here's the thing. So there was a point I was just going to make, and then I ruined it by jumping off into that. So, okay, here's what I was talking about. So, no comedians talk about money. And I'm going to tell you why. Because most of them are making such small amounts of money that it's embarrassing to say. Now, all that's doing is keeping it that way to where no one's getting paid. These fucking comedians. Now, I'm not trying to insult them or talk shit to them, but this is what really annoys me about the comedy industry. You're competing with people who are willing to work. And stand-up comedy, in my opinion, is work. They all enjoy it a lot more than I do. I don't even like attention. I gotta say, at this point in stand-up, I already know I can write good jokes. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm on stage and I can be myself. I'm still not there. I'm still a shy little deer in the headlights on stage. But here's the other thing. I'm not particularly motivated to succeed in stand-up. It's like, I don't even want to work locally. I could be like trying to get local spots and trying to network with the Florida stand-up comedy scene. There's no money in it. I'm not trying to spend my money to travel to, South Florida to go do stand-up and maybe get some free drinks and maybe $100. The hotel's going to cost me more than that. You know what I mean? It's a lose-lose, You get to tell everyone, oh, I'm gonna go do stand-up comedy in Miami, but really, you're basically paying to do it. You're not making any money. You know what I mean? So this is what comedians will never tell you, that they're not even making money. All they care about is being able to go on the internet and tell everyone, I'm a comedian and I'm gonna be here and I'm gonna be there, and ain't nobody paying me. But it's like stand-up comedy is the one industry where it's like you can't do it for the money. Well, yeah, obviously there's no fucking money in it, because all y'all motherfuckers are like, I'm not in it for the money. So yeah, no one's gonna pay you to fucking do it if you're willing to do it for free. Not only that, y'all motherfuckers are willing to take a loss on it. I'm not willing to do that. I'm barely willing to do the one set that I do a week, which still costs me money. They give me free beers, but I've got to take an Uber there and back, and it's fine with me because I'm going out and I'm having a good time. I'm usually, I drink a bunch of free beers, and it's fun. It's a good time. But am I willing? Let me tell you this: I'm not willing to do it more than once a week. I mean, why the fuck would I? I'm not in this shit to lose money, So this is why a lot of these comedians, you can ask them flat out, and it's a rude thing to do, but this is the reason no one's making money in stand-up. Because here's the thing: they're all so desperate to be famous. Not only are they turning their heads to the ugliness of the political messaging, which they're all being subverted into pushing. You ain't gonna succeed in stand up if you're not pushing the right messaging. But here's the thing. Now I'm gonna try, and if I don't, I don't even fucking care either way. To be 100% honest, I'm gonna be me, and I'm gonna accept the consequences of being me 1000% at all times. I try. Who can even say that they are 1000% themselves? But I try. So, that's a lot of the comedians locally who do think I'm funny when I'm trying. They're like, why don't you, try harder, basically. And I'm like, because that's not even. I'm not even. It's complicated, but I'm not even really trying to. At this point, I'm just trying to get comfortable on stage. That's it. I know I can write fire-ass jokes. I know I can go up on stage and repeat them like a tape recorder and get laughs. I'm trying to get to the point where I can think on my feet on stage, like I can with the YouTube videos. So, I'm past the point of joke writing. I'm trying to get to the next phase where I can be myself on stage. So up until then, I'm not interested in being booked a whole lot. I'm definitely not interested, and I will never be interested in spending all my money to go and do stand-up all over the place and not get paid for it and not turn a profit. If I'm going to do it for free, I'll do it locally. You know what I mean? I don't care about the industry. I don't give a shit about the industry. I really don't want anything to do with it. I'm trying to do it independent. If it fails, it fails. If it succeeds, it succeeds. I want God's will to be done. It's really that simple. So, now the acting thing. So, with the actors, like I said, anyone can do it. It ain't hard to act. I watched an audition on Instagram. It was the kid from E.T. And the kid was acting so well, and he's like crying and begging the agent. This is an audition. Begging the agents not to take away E.T. or whatever. I watched that movie as an adult, and I gotta say, it sucks. Like, what why did they make such a big deal of that movie when I was a kid? There's like nothing happens. A fucking alien crashes in the woods. The government takes the alien, and the kids save the alien. I'm like, what the? This movie's fucking retarded. Anyways, so the kid, he was acting so well, and he was literally like choked up and almost crying. I'm like, what kind of society raises their kids and teaches them to lie for money, which is basically what acting is doing? And then the kid took to it so well. I was like, this is almost fucking scary to watch. Look it up. Look up the Elliot audition for E.T. It's like psychotic, bro. And so, like, you think these actors are super talented and this and that. This kid's like 5 years old doing it better than any of them. It's like, how fucking hard can it be if a 5-year-old can outshine the entire industry with, I mean, I don't know, do they teach him? Do they train him? And that's another funny thing. All these acting classes and stand-up comedy classes, show me one successful comedian who came from a fucking stand-up comedy class. That's, these people teaching these classes, they ain't never going to tell you that. You know why they're not going to tell you that? Because they know deep down they cannot teach you to be funny. But they'll take your fucking money and, you know, spit some bullshit in your face for an hour a week, and then at the end they'll have this easy ass crowd of all the supportive family members of the class, a crowd that you couldn't imagine an easier crowd to kill. Like, I mean, look up any comedy class YouTube channel and watch their little showcases, and it's like, you know, so here's, I mean, that's not stand-up comedy what they're doing. So these comedy class, they're just taking the people's money. They're getting them this little audition tape, which any booker in the industry is going to scoff at it. They're going to be like, what is this bullshit? Like, so, like, acting classes, they can't teach you to fucking act. I don't think. You either got it or you don't. You're either good at being full of shit or you're not. So, my whole point here is that, yeah, anyone could succeed in any of these industries. I gotta say, stand-up comedy is a little tricky, because I don't care how easily subverted you are or how easily controlled you are, if you are not capable of ever killing a crowd with your own original material, you ain't gonna get too far. You gotta at least be able to do that. That's one thing about stand-up. But, you know, you see a lot of these professional comedians, I don't want to say any names, you've heard of them, the ones who are famous. The crowds they're doing are fucking easy. Put me in front of their crowds, and I'll murder it just as hard as them, or harder. And that's, here's someone who's so nervous on stage, I'm like a deer in the fucking headlights. But I can sit up there and recite my jokes. Their crowds are fucking easy. Their crowds are sitting there waiting to get killed. So, you know, it makes them look a lot better than... I'll put it to you this way. Take any of them and make them anonymous to where no one knows who they are, and put them in an open mic setting, and let's see how good they do then. They probably ain't... They're going to do just as shitty as everyone else. Although they will kill it occasionally, just like everyone else does. So, you know, my point is that anyone can get into the entertainment industry. What it comes down to is, are you willing to be a puppet, and are you willing to push the messaging? Are you willing to be controlled? Are you willing to turn your head while they do ugly things and they subvert the public? Are you willing to ignore all that, take your little money and fame, and just keep your fucking mouth shut and do what you're told? That's all. So, you know, what's that saying? Power is there for anyone who's willing to stoop down low enough to pick it up. That is exactly how I feel about the entertainment industry. If I was willing to be the networking puppet that is required, I'd do real well in it. But I'm not willing. I answer to God. I don't answer to people. I'm not saying I'm better than it, because here's the thing. When I was younger and I was dead set on being a successful comedian, I was just waiting to be subverted. They could have had me hook, line, and sinker. doing everything they wanted me to do, pushing the messaging they wanted pushed. Had they just caught me early enough, they would have had me, but they did not catch me early enough. By the time the opportunities were kind of coming to me, I was already kind of seeing what was expected of me, and I was already kind of not willing to do it. And I was thinking at that time, I'm not going to push too hard anymore. I'm going to, at some point in the future, maybe when I can be more independent of the industry, I'll start doing stand-up again. That's where I'm at now. I'm independent or die. I don't care about the industry. I mean, if the industry wants to pay me to do things, that's fine. But they're not going to tell me what to say. They're not going to tell me what to think. They're not going to tell me how to feel. And if they expect me to turn my head and look away when they do foul shit, they got me mistaken, because I ain't doing none of that. Because I don't respect these people. I don't respect their industry. I don't respect a whole lot of people in their industries, because I know that those people will do anything for a little bit of money and fame. They would probably sell their kids for it. So, does anyone else think it's a little funny how many celebrities have kids who have gender dysphoria or whatever? You ever seen Ben Affleck's kids? You ever seen Charlize Theron's kids? You ever seen Madonna's kids? You ever seen? Look at any of them. Look at their kids. Look at. You know what I mean? So, look into it. These are people. You know, he without sin cast the first stone. I try not to judge, but I do judge. And like I said, damn, this video's getting long. All right, hopefully I made my points. So, let me watch this video, see if it makes sense. Is there anything else I wanted to say? I don't think so. But here's the last thing I'm going to say about it. That whole selling your soul thing, it don't work like that. Here's how it works. You are expected to ignore God's will and answer to the will of these people who control these industries. Now, you're ignoring the truth and you're selling lies for your own self-interest. That is selling your soul. Once they got you, and once they got you, you're done. You ain't working without them at that point. And maybe you can get some independent shit going, maybe you can't. A lot of these people aren't the type to risk it. What's her name? Did Gina Carano or some shit, making those cheesy ass Daily Mail movies or whatever. You know, the whole right wing Hollywood industry that's popping up now, which it's like a mouse compared to the elephant of the left wing Hollywood industry. They're the same fucking thing. They're just pushing the opposite messaging. You know what I mean? So it's all bullshit anyway, is my point. Anyways, hopefully this video makes sense. But yeah, selling your soul don't work like that. The devil doesn't magically appear in front of you. I need you to sign this contract in blood. It's not how it works. How it works is they take an inch at a time, and it's all very subtle. It's you got to compromise your integrity just a little at first, and eventually they'll have you standing up on stage naked or wearing a dress or behind closed doors. Who knows what the fuck they do. But I can tell you one thing. Thank God I didn't succeed in the entertainment industry when I was younger, because I was just waiting to be subverted. You know what I mean? Maybe not, but who knows? You can't say what would or would not have happened, but I can tell you this much. If you stay true to God and you stay true to yourself, you're indestructible in a lot of ways, man. So, you know, don't sign your soul over to these clowns. That's all they are. They're a bunch of fucking clowns. Look what they do when they sacrifice their own Harvey Weinstein or R. Kelly. You think anyone ever thought these people were innocent? Do you think they just figured it out? Oh, he's doing things that are wrong. Like, no. Everyone was turning their heads for 20, 30 years. You know what I mean? So they can all pretend to, you know, be... And here's the other... I gotta end this video, so... I appreciate yous. I'll see yous on the next... I appreciate the likes, comments, subs, tips. Appreciate the Patreons especially. Appreciate every single one of yous. And everybody have a good one. I'll see yous on the next one.
Oh, that's interesting. I always thought it was different. I thought it was a contract and all that, because there's been testimony to that effect.
Fantastic show. That drill just lit up the night. Here's the credits, as promised.
John.
Looks like somebody else might be doing it. Well, I guess not. Well, let's go while we have a chance. Oh shit, I missed it. I hate it when I miss the left. Anyway, that's Joey's insight into all that entertainment industry shit. I've seen testimony to where there are actual sold contracts and shit, supposedly, but he's talking about the introductory level. You're Joe Rogan, but the problem is that's 3 hours. That's the problem with Joe Rogan. It's too long. Oh, but I like to see her, but only when you can. If I was doing a lot of visual stuff, but I'm not.
To men, like men need to.
Okay. Oh, that's an old one. All right. So here's another one from Joey. Controversy at the Trump rally would kill Tony.
Let's talk about the controversy at the Trump rally. So, you know, personally, I don't care about the election. That makes some people angry, but I've existed outside of their systems for so long that I've come to the conclusion that it doesn't matter to me.
I'll get into it. So let's talk about Tony Hinchcliffe from Kill Tony. Apparently, he made some racist or offensive jokes. Here's the thing. The way I see it, it's like we got the old world versus the new world. We got the old world where everyone is offended by everything and everyone is worshiping celebrities and, believing politicians, and that's the old world. And then you got the new world where people are just done. They're checking out of all the systems. They are done working full-time and not being able to afford rent. That is complete insanity. When your society reaches the point where you can work a full-time job and not afford to put a roof over your head, you are so far gone that it's like beyond comprehension. They could never pull that off with any other time, with any other people in history except modern people. The only reason they can pull it off with us is because we are so brainwashed, we've been so gaslit that we accept unacceptable things. Tons of them. But let's talk about Tony. So, Tony Hinchcliffe, if you don't know anything about stand-up comedy, he's one of the biggest comedians out right now, and it's because of the show Kill Tony. Now, I've been doing stand-up on and off for, 15 years or something. The reason I do it on and off is because I can't stand the industry, and I've realized that in order to succeed in the entertainment industry, you've got to be a lot of things that I am not. So I don't really care that much about doing stand-up. I like to do stand-up, but basically it's because I like to get laughs. I can get laughs anywhere, anytime. When I'm around people, the reason I haven't put up any videos in a while is because I was up at Rainbow River last weekend. I tried to go up there for 2 days. I ended up being up there for 4 days. One of my best friends came in town from Colorado, and he rented a house up on Rainbow River, and me and a bunch of my friends from high school went up there, and we just partied all weekend. We were laughing the whole time. You know what I mean? Well, and the other reason I didn't get nothing up this week, when I got back here, I had to help my uncle move, and I had to do some stuff around here. I've been pretty busy, but I'm back now. So here's the thing with Tony. He's always been offensive. And you either like offensive jokes or you don't. And I liked him. My ancestors come from Ireland and Italy. If he made a joke about Ireland or Italy, I probably would have laughed. So the other thing is, well, I'm not even going to get into it, but Tony is used to doing audiences who laugh at these things. People with a sense of humor. So, his latest audience with the Trump rally is the entire world. He's not used to doing an audience of people who are looking for reasons to be offensive. If you're looking for reasons to be offensive, you're going to be very offended by Tony Hinchcliffe. So, and here's the thing. Do you really want to live in a world where everyone is afraid to offend each other, where everyone is tiptoeing around and walking on eggshells because people might get offended by something? I would not want to live in that world. I will never live that way. I will speak my mind. I will make the jokes that I think are funny, and that's just the way I am. I'm not the type to bend over backwards to appease people who look for reasons to be upset. Personally, I try to avoid those kind of people. I don't want anything to do with them. Like, you're offended by me? You don't like me? Good. That is... I'm fine with that. I don't want anything to do with you. You know what I mean? So, it's just so ridiculous to me, the whole, I get it that there's this whole industry around canceling someone for some offensive thing they said, even if it was something they said 10, 20 years ago. To me, it's completely insane. But here's the other thing. Like I said, I don't care. I'm not voting. I've never voted. I don't consent to any of it. In my opinion, when you vote, you give your consent. People, you hear people saying the dumbest things imaginable. People are like, "Oh, it's the lesser of two evils." I'm like, when I hear that, I see someone who has consented to being ruled over by evil people. I do not pick the lesser of two evils. I don't pick evil. I am against corruption and evil and greed, and I'm completely against all politicians. And here's the other thing. I think it's all a show. I don't think any of it is real. I think they decide who's going to be president long before the votes happen. But here's the other thing. If I believed it was real, I would want Trump to win, because all that matters is the economy. You ever notice how every bad thing they say about Trump has to do with, oh, he said this offensive thing, or he feels this way, or he thinks this way. It's never anything that he actually did when he was president. And here's why. Because he did a lot of things right. The economy was going great. We were exporting oil. Everyone was making money. Personally, I got to the point in life right around when Trump was in office where I figured out how to make money regardless. I was doing portraits on the street. Now I'm doing YouTube and Patreon. I mean, the ways that I have discovered and what's the word? I can't think of the word, but I've been working on these things for a long time to get to the point where I can just not answer to anyone except God. I answer to God. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter to me what's happening. I've gotten to the point in my life where I know I'll figure something out. God bless me with a lot of creative talents, and I've finally found ways to use them. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really matter to me who's president. And here's one of the reasons why I think it's all fake now. Here's the thing. I do think they want Trump to win, and here's why they want Trump to win. Here's why I believe
this is before
it's
the election.
part of the script to have Trump to win, because here's the thing. They need to ease up. They need to take their foot off the gas for a minute. They've been pushing their policies too hard. They've been driving the economy into the ground. Everything's just gotten a little too crazy to be acceptable, and people are upset. The American public is angry and upset, and if they keep their foot on the gas the way they have for the last 4 years, they're going to have uprisings to deal with, and that's the last thing they want. And it's not because they're afraid of us. It's not because they don't think they can beat us. Do I think we could beat them? Yeah, I do think we could beat them. I mean, if Afghanistan can do it and Vietnam can do it, you bet your ass America can do it. I mean, look at the size of our territory. Look at all the wilderness. Look at the people who live here who, we've got a very large part of our population who is very interested in survival gear, military tactics. We've got a pretty dangerous population in America. They don't want war with us, but like I said, it's not because they don't think they can win. It's because it's a waste of resources. They go to war in foreign countries because they can make money off it. If they go to war in their own country, it would be like a farmer going to war with his own cows. You know what I mean? It would cost them too much money. They need us alive and working, and they need us somewhat content. Otherwise, it cuts into their wallets, basically. And I'm talking about the corporations and politicians who seemingly are in control. They're really not. They answer to people who are completely hidden. If you could look behind the curtain, you would see a whole different group of people they're the ones who are really in control. And if you think about it, if you were in control of the world and you were doing a whole bunch of lunacy, like keeping things unstable and keeping people upset, and you would stay hidden. You'd be way too smart to be putting yourself up on stage like these politicians do. The politicians are dumb. That's why they have these positions, because they're too dumb to realize the trap that they have put themselves in. So what the politicians get is a little bit of fame and a little bit of money and a little bit of power. Not much, just a little. And they're too stupid to realize that it's really nothing. What they're getting is really nothing. What they're getting is a bunch of karmic debt, which they'll be paying off for the next, God knows, thousands of years, reincarnating over and over into this nut house that we call Earth. If you want details, go on my Patreon. But that's the price they pay for betraying us, because that's what they have done. Now, the people who are really in control, they're really not betraying us, because they are not us. They are not one of us. They come from different bloodlines, let's put it that way, and they are doing their job. Their job is to destabilize Earth and make it a crazy place. They're doing their job. They're going to have to pay a karmic debt for it, but it's a whole different situation. I mean, if you want details, go on my Patreon. It's way too much to go over here, and I'm not going to push my Patreon this whole video, but you know, it really boggles my mind how they think that these old tactics are going to work, where we got to cancel him because he's racist. It's like, that shit is so done. We're all just so sick of it. We're tired of being threatened with this bullshit. Everyone, like, we've agreed to everything. We've all become like super duper liberal. It's that Overton window. It's like, it just keeps moving till eventually we're all just going to be dressing as the opposite sex or something. Otherwise, you're racist. You know what I mean? It's like, how far do y'all want to go? Like, they're sticking with their old playbook, which worked up until pretty recently. And I got to be honest, if it still works, we deserve the results. If Kamala wins and just continues to drive the economy into the ground, we deserve it. We deserve to be working mindless shit, menial jobs, and spending all our money to live in a filing cabinet for widows and young professionals, like he said in Fight Club. I mean, you know, look, I can afford an apartment if I wanted to. I'm not doing that because I see the trap that it is. I used to do construction. I can build one of these apartments in a couple of months for a couple of $1,000s. Give me one person to work with. I don't even need that. I could do it myself. And so, from my perspective, who has, you know, what's up, kitty? Cat over here saying what's up. From my perspective, I have, you know, experience in all phases of commercial and residential construction. I understand the cheapness and the shittiness of these apartments and how they're thrown together by people who are being paid very little. So, from my perspective, I'm not willing to pay over a lifetime hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe millions, it depends on the apartment, for a place that's worth a couple of $1,000s. It's not, you know, these apartments are not worth shit. They're crappy, simple little boxes. I'm telling you, I could drive my little CRV out into the middle of the woods and build a better shelter than these apartments, with way more functional, a way better place. So I don't care if I got $10 million. I am not renting one of these little shithole apartments, this filing cabinet, for $1,500, $2,000, you know, depending on where you're at. If you're in New York City, you're paying $5,000 a month for a dump, the type of dump where the bathtub is in the kitchen. Because the apartments in Manhattan, for the most part, the ones that aren't like luxury apartments, they were built for the working poor. They were built for poor people. They're crappy apartments. And then you go outside and there's homeless people shitting on the sidewalk, and they're paying $5,000 a month for it. What's that saying from P.T. Barnum or B.T. Barnum, the guy that used to run the circus? He was like a known con artist. He had a saying that said, to him, it's immoral to let a sucker keep his money. And, you know, and there's a part of me that kind of agrees with it. If someone is just a dimwit dumbbell sucker who's going to fall for every trick you throw at him and give you all his money, it's immoral to not take it. You gotta make him learn. Me personally, I don't really, I don't con people like that. I don't, but I've seen it happen. I used to live on the street in New York, and I've watched a lot of people get taken advantage of, and for the most part, I'm not stepping in. I know people, I knew the people who were doing it to them, so I'm not gonna get involved with this conflict that has nothing to do with me. I got my own shit to deal with. I'm trying to make money every day. But I would see people just screwing other people out of money, or screwing them out of this, or screwing them out of that, tricking them into giving this up, or bullying them out of that. And I would think to myself, it's so wrong, but here's the thing. You gotta not be a victim. You can't let them do this shit to you. A lot of people would let themselves get screwed over because they're like afraid, and I get it. I feel for them, but you gotta learn to stand up for yourself. You gotta learn to be smart. You gotta learn who to trust. You can't, New York City is the kind of place where people will come up to you acting like they want to be your friend, giving you things, this and that. Next thing you know, they're hitting you up. You know what I mean? They're getting you in debt to them. They're slick like that. Lots of people in New York would try to get me on their side by giving me things or doing things for me, and I would reject it all, unless it was like some, pedestrian trying to give me some type of charity. Once I got to the point where I was making kind of a lot of money, but I was still homeless, I would accept the charity from the pedestrians because I realized it made them feel good when I did, and because at first I rejected it all, and I could tell they'd be like crestfallen. They wanted to give, they wanted to help, and I'd just be sitting there like, nah, I don't need it, thanks anyway. And I realized I was kind of hurting them by doing that, and so once I was on the street for a while and I was making good money and this and that, I would accept whatever it was, food, whatever, and then I would just give it to some other homeless person, because I would see homeless people multiple times a day in New York. So whatever they would give me, I would take it. I didn't need it. I didn't want it. But I knew other people who could use it. So I was like, all right, they can get this sensation of giving, and I can give their charity to someone else who actually needs it. So, I figured out a way to make that whole thing work. But so, here's the way I see it. If people are still willing, now I'm talking about, from most people's perspective, this election is real. This whole thing is real. So, in my opinion, if those people are still falling for these old tricks, Trump is racist, Trump is evil, Trump is this, Trump is that, if you're still willing to fall for all that old bullshit, then you deserve the old world, which is what Kamala Harris represents. She's going, this continued just political structure that has driven us into the ground, has gotten us to the point where everyone is basically working poor. Not everyone, some people have slipped through the cracks, and they got to give enough opportunities to where it looks like you have a chance. But here's the reality: with people like that in office, like Kamala Harris, and this same old political bullshit that we've been falling for, you don't have a chance. Not really. Unless you're doing things like me, living in a vehicle and doing a whole bunch of unorthodox things that, we've found ways to exist outside of their corruption and bullshit, to where we don't got to play their games. We don't got to sit here filling out bullshit, fake, what's it called? A resume. You know what I mean? Like, you got people who, I see people online, like, looking for a job. They're like, man, I sent out 500 resumes. I ain't heard nothing back. I'm like, you guys keep voting for these politicians and supporting them and even arguing for them, and then you sit there wondering why things are upside down, because you're supporting upside down, insane leadership. Now, Trump represents like an outsider. He's not a career politician. To me, that represents the new world. The old world with Hollywood and all this overproduced bullshit. It's all just fake. It's a bunch of, like, smoke and mirrors. It's fake. then you got the new world, which is emerging, which is inevitable, in my opinion, which is realness. You know what I mean? And Trump, for all his faults, he is himself, and I respect that. But like I said, I believe he's co-opted too. I believe they want Trump to win because they need to shut everyone up. They need to throw us a bone, and they need to let the economy get a little better. This way, everyone will just calm down again. But here's the thing. Regardless of who's in office, even if it's Trump, even if it is Trump, in the background, they're still gonna be pushing and working on their same little tricky bullshit agendas, which have gotten us to this point. So the trajectory will continue, but with Trump in office, it might level off for a little while. But they are not going to let their trajectory change. When did that ever happen? We've been on the same trajectory since World War II, if you ask me. And they've been pulling the same trick every time. The lesser of two evils, they got us accepting evil. But here's the other thing. The last time they pulled this trick was with Obama. So we had Bush in office. Everyone was tired of it. The economic collapse, 2007, 2008. Nobody wanted anything to do with Bush at that point. So they threw us Obama. And everyone got happy for a minute. Everyone thought, Obama was running under, the candidate for change. Realistically, nothing really changed. He took the foot off the gas a little bit, but it was enough to shut everyone up. And so they're doing the same thing, in my opinion, with this election. They're going to put Trump in there. They're going to shut everyone up. But in the background, they're still going to have their foot on the gas. They're just going to let it up a little bit. Hopefully I'm making sense now. But like I said, if people are still falling for that old bullshit, like, this old, if you vote for Trump, you're racist. Here's what matters. The economy is what matters. Do I believe Trump is racist? Not at all. I mean, come on, bro. Like, they're always using this racist thing. Do you realize that when left to our own devices, most people, and I'm talking like 95% of the population, is not racist at all. We are all, we all react to people depending on how they act towards us. You know what I mean? There's very few people in modern America who are so ignorant that when they see someone of a different color, they automatically hate them. That's a rare thing. You know what I mean? People, if they weren't pushing this racism issue constantly, we would all get along just fine. I live in a mostly black neighborhood. I get along with everyone around here. You know what I mean? None of us give a shit. None of these people around here pay any attention to any of this shit. They don't pay it no mind. In the laundry room, you know what I'm saying? I get along with all these people around here. I've made friends with people in the laundry room just because there's a lot of outgoing, interesting characters around here because it's a kind of lower income area. So when you're in areas like that, you run into people who are just interesting. They don't give a fuck. They're like, yo, what's up? They act like they knew you their whole life. You can't help but kind of become friends with them. So, this whole racist thing, I think the only reason it's an issue is because they make it an issue. They I mean, and if you're still willing to fall for that bullshit and, believe that we're all like a bunch of, we all just hate each other. If you're willing to fall for that shit, you deserve the results of a dimwit like Kamala Harris in office. It's, here's the thing. You may not like Trump, but you can't say he's full of shit. He's pretty honest. You don't go on Joe Rogan and sit there and talk to him for 2 hours if you're full of shit. You can't, because a 2-hour deep interview like that is going to expose you for who you are. That is why Kamala Harris will never do anything like that, because she is an actress. She's just like a robot spitting lines that have been fed to her. She can't be herself, because if you know anything about her, then you know how she got into politics, which was by just using dim-witted, powerful men getting in and then grabbing onto the next powerful dude. I mean, you know, it's very, you know, there's nothing worthy of respect there, in my opinion. So, you know, look, if people are still willing to fall for the same bullshit over and over and over again, like I said, I don't care. I don't care if Kamala wins. There's a part of me that kind of wants her to win because it's just so hilarious that somebody can get to that position, one of the most powerful positions in the world, by doing it the way she did it. I don't even look into it. I mean, you know, it's hilarious to me. There's a part of me that kind of wants that because modern Western society is so upside down and so insane. You know, there's a part of me that says these motherfuckers deserve a leader like that. You know what I mean? You think Putin, what do you think Putin thinks of her? You think he's going to take her seriously? You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know, if you want to keep falling for the old bullshit, spending all your tax money going to foreign wars, and it's not like that money is being used really for the purposes that you think it is. That money is being washed. There's a bunch of people over there who get a piece, and then a lot of it gets sent back here. They wash the money. They're taking it all. It's a bunch of greedy, psychotic pigs in charge, and you know, it's a very complicated. Their structure is so complicated. This is why nobody knows what the fuck is going on, because they've set up this convoluted, ridiculous, confusing system that you can't really even blame anyone. Who can you blame? You gonna blame Kamala Harris? You gonna blame Joe Biden? These people are just figureheads. They're taking orders too. It's a very convenient system for them because they can always point the finger at somewhere else, which is what they always do. Every time they tried to call Kamala on anything, she basically just said, well, Trump did this and Trump did that. It's like they've got this system in place where nobody takes accountability for anything, and yet they profit and we lose. They get money and power, we get poverty and hopelessness. You know what I mean? And they act like they can't control it, or you know, these are all like normal, natural things, like a country full of resources like the United States of America to be trillions of dollars in debt. Do you realize how dumb you would have to be to take control of a rich country like this, full of intelligent people who generate massive amounts of wealth? How the fuck do you go into debt? I'm not in debt, and I'm working with very little money, but I'm not in debt. You know what I mean? It's insanity. Like, there's a reason why they lie and do so much corruption right out in the open and just flat out bald-faced lie straight to your face, because it confuses everyone to the point where nobody even knows what truth is. They've got us so trained that we lie and we think nothing of it. We think it's normal. Just take your resume, for instance. Did you not lie on your resume? I remember when I was trying to reinsert myself back into the Matrix. I gotta cut this video. It's getting too long. I was trying to reinsert myself into the Matrix, so I had my buddy help me with a resume. And as I'm doing it, he's telling me to put all this stuff that's not true. I was homeless at the time. And I'm like, dude, I don't want to do that, because first of all, it's not true. You know, second of all, it's like, if I gotta fucking tell lies and pretend to be something that I'm not to get a job, that's before I even get the job. What are they gonna want from me when I get the job? What kind of bullshit am I gonna have to spout at that point? I was like, I ain't even got the job yet, and you got me bullshitting and lying and pretending to be something. I said, I'm not doing this. I'm going back out on the street. Fuck the Matrix. I'm done with this whole thing. You know what I mean? So, it's unacceptable to me. This is, way back when I was telemarketing and doing all this phone sales and shit. I'm like, in order for me to succeed here, I've got to lie, cheat, and steal. I got to steal money from people. And the people, the all-stars at that job, the people who made the most money, who the bosses loved, were the most dishonest. I'm like, this is what I got to do to make a living. I got to fucking steal from people. Like, if I'm going to do that, I'm going to do it on my own. I'm not going to do it for these people and let them take most of the profit and give me a little bit of it. Why the fuck would I do that? If I'm going to lie, cheat, and steal, I'm not going to do it for this guy. I'm going to do it for myself, But here's the thing. I'm not out here... I'm not making my living that way. If I was going to make my living that way, you may as well go all the way and be violent too. You may as well just go claim a corner and start selling hard drugs and just killing the ops. You know what I mean? So, like, where does it end? So I refuse to kind of take part in it. And thank God that God led me through it to a place where I don't have to lie, cheat, and steal. You know what I mean? So... the world is what you make it, and if you're gonna accept evil, then that's that. Then expect evil to come your way because you're accepting it. You're consenting to it. I don't consent to any of it. But like I said, if I thought it was real, I'd be voting for Trump. But and I'm not trying to. I don't care. Like I said, I'm not trying to. My channel is for everyone. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. My information is for everyone. So. I don't want to alienate anyone. I feel like I got a lot of useful information. I'm not trying to cut anyone up. I had one chick on Patreon just constantly trying to like catch me in lies as if I was running some sort of scam, and I could have blocked her, but I didn't. I was like, this chick needs this information more than anyone. Because she's so messed up in the head, she's so miserable. She's trying to, it's all projections. People accuse you of the shit they do, you know what I mean? So I was like, well, eventually I did have to block her because at that point her subscription had ran out and she's still in my inbox and in my comments talking shit. I'm like, look, I gave you enough chances, go away. You know what I mean? We don't need this disruption, this rude, angry, nasty person. But what I was hoping was that she would watch the videos and learn a few things and stop spreading misery. You know what I mean? So anyways, this video is getting too long. I appreciate y'all. Thanks for the subs. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for the tips. I got to thank some people on Venmo. And if you want a response to the comment, try to get it in the first 30. If you want to argue with me, feel free. I'm willing to try to articulate my points in a civil and polite way. If you're going to be insulting, I'm probably not going to respond because I don't want to get angry and act like an idiot, which is what happens when I get angry. So, not like... It turns me into a simple-minded moron where I'm just trying to insult people. That's not what I want. And here's the other thing: you don't change nobody's mind with that. I really don't argue about politics anymore because I realized long ago I'm not changing anyone's mind. I'm not doing me or them any favor 100%. By fighting with them and insulting them. Sometimes it's funny, and it helps me prepare for hecklers and stuff, but. It all depends on how I feel when I read the comment. But anyways, appreciate y'all. And I'm going to do maybe the next video. I will show y'all some of the stuff I got going on back here as far as my power supply and stuff. Because I watch some van life people and their setups are just no good. And I got some tips for them. But anyways, let me get off here before they start screeching and screaming in the background. And I appreciate y'all, and good luck with everything. Oh, happy Halloween if I don't see y'all. I don't even know what the date is. I'll try to do some sort of Halloween special like I did last year. But, yeah, everybody have a good one. I'll see you on the next one.
Have a safe and pleasant stay.
The Mark of Revan. Wow.
Vehicle paths are currently open for business. Have a safe and pleasant stay.
Go to Lord Zash. Anyway, Lord Zash or Lady Zash We got to go talk to her and kind of go from there. Oh, man. Yeah, Trump already won, and he's right. Like, if you elect the village idiot to run your country, you deserve what you get. See, Biden got old, and he obviously got sick, and nobody's. They're more concerned about how the country looks as opposed to the reality, and somebody else is making all these decisions. There's no way Biden's doing it. Biden's not the type of person to do anything bad. That guy was always a fucking straight up hero since the beginning. You know, he has a long career of doing what's right for the American people, and then all of a sudden, he obviously got sick. He got old, and it's too bad, man. It's really sad. But you know, all you could do is just keep trucking. I'm glad Trump won. I voted for Trump, and I voted for him because he's the most qualified person up there. Everybody else didn't seem very qualified, not driven to do anything. They didn't have any connections. Like Kamala had connections, but every time you ask her a question, she gives you a bunch of bullshit. She goes into another subject. I mean, I want an answer to my fucking question. I don't want you to bring up another subject unless it's a good example. And half the time, the answer had nothing to do with the fucking question. So, and they tell you this right to your fucking face. Right to your face. They just give you this bullshit. And I'm like, really? Really? You know, this is like the most powerful country in the world, and you're giving me this kind of bullshit? You know, or the interviewer, whoever's interviewing them, they're giving a bunch of bullshit. And I'm like, really? I mean, the economy's at stake, the border's cracking, the population's about to be overrun by foreign power. You know, this immigration thing is an invasion. It's an invasion of this country. They're coming without authorization, without respect to your laws, and they're going to take your resources, and they're going to take advantage of your system because they've been trained to do so. There's Mexican relatives, people that have Mexican relatives that have come over here before, and in Texas anyway, they took over the system. The food stamps and all that, the Mexicans took over the system, and they've been bringing their people over here for generations. They've been paying them money through the system from the government for generations. It's all corruption. The good thing is that these people got help. The bad thing is that an American doesn't get anywhere close to what they get.
I have the Let's get to the You don't know what it wouldn't be
I've done all this shit before. Alright guys, I think we're at the end of the video. I think what I'm gonna do is let's get out of here and go out and see what else I can do here. What's this?
I see. Nothing yet. What makes this slave so bold as to enter my chambers? Tell me, slave, are you insane, or do you have a death wish?
My master wants you dead, and I must comply.
Skisk. Kill him.
I'm your master now.
Clever. Zash must have stayed up many a night to think of that. I suppose you'll be sending...
You're free to leave anytime.
You shouldn't have, but you subvert... No. I think you're good.
Jeez, just another asshole.
Teufel atraus.
Is there...
How does it feel to be killed by a slave, Scotia?
Mindless. You don't know what Zash can do. Think she will kill you, just like she's killed me?
I killed you, not Zash.
Jeez. Well, he's been processed, ladies and gentlemen. Processed. Welcome to Bear County Jail, bitch. Anyway. Yeah, the psychological mindfuck out there in the world. I wish I had invested myself better, but my mom had me by my emotions, and she had me played and programmed to be weak. I don't have to be weak anymore, right? I don't have to be subject to that programming. I just realized, I'm 53, and there's a lot of things I just don't have the energy to do. I was about to start working out, for example. I was working out for about a week or so, and then all of a sudden I got this fucking problem where I got neuropathy on the left side of my body. So now I can't really move my muscles without pain. So I try to be as stationary as possible. So instead of working out to lose weight and build my body back up and get my body to activate a little bit better, to reduce the insensitivity to the glucose, or I think it's called insulin resistance. But the thing is, I could have done something about it, and it helps to do that. But unfortunately, I'm telling you, it's like every time I try to come up with a strategy that works, something works against me. I did the online trading, and I lost, out of the $150 I put in there, I made money and I lost money, but I lost overall about 20, 30 of it. After a while, you're like, shit, this sucks. But I'm not going to cry about it no more. I'm just thankful I'm alive after Bear County Jail. I'm glad I'm not dead, because those people really wanted to fucking kill me. So fuck them. I'm going to live my life in peace, they can go fuck themselves. And I'm just thankful that, I don't have to worry about certain things.
Well, when I'd heard she'd taken up with a Mandalorian, I was scandalised.
A Mandalorian?
I know.
He places.
I'm sorry. If you must.
I hope you've come.
I have done as you wished.
Brilliant. You have
Lord Zash.
Darth Anaton.
You going to introduce me?
Sorry, I'll just... As I said, my lord.
You have nerve.
With all respect.
Don't play ignorant.
Scotia.
Just now, Zash.
Discretion? Though I have all...
Zash, I don't want...
Yes, Darth An...
Looks like you have a meeting to get to.
Give me time and don't worry.
Yeah, that woman knows how to play the game. Anyway, in character, she knows how to play that game.
Maru Jamunja.
Yeah, I'm just thankful I'm alive. I went ahead last night. I placed the order for a massager to try to help me with my issue. Those little itty bitty massagers. I'm hoping that'll help. But if not, then, at least I, what is this? I also ordered a couple of USB fans so I can install them in my window. I'm going to make a window insert to get air into my car if I wind up living in it again. So that's the only preparation I really have. I have everything else I need.
Enjoy your stay.
Let's see. I think the Mark of Revan is in the Gratham Estate. It's like it's a helmet or a face piece or something, I think. Problem with this game is there's a lot of running around sometimes.
Please use all products only as intended. Be well.
I think Lord Sash already... I think what happened is she talked her way into the guy's office. So that's going to be her office from now on. It's funny.
There he is. It's Lord Zash's apprentice.
You wouldn't tell us if he...
What about...
Still it,
Gonna let it...
I will not. He somehow...
Don't be silly.
Now you're the one.
Wouldn't that...
But a dark leaves you...
How many times do I...
find that seems enough?
Perfect timing, apprentice. I just met with that insufferable Thanaton, and I have good news.
Everyone's talking about it.
Good. And my meat you would have been proud of.
You've certainly earned...
I did remember this now, however.
It will be my pleasure.
But
I always knew I...
you must...
Don't worry about me.
You're too late.
Alright. I just zipped through a conversation because I already know it's just like blah, 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 blah. You know how many times I've played this character through? Holy shit. This is way too many times. Anyway, I'm going to go find a parking position and take a break. I'm going to end the video now because it's already been an hour and a half. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Last video played was Joey the Gypsy. Controversy at the Trump rally. Yeah, politics, man. Politics. Politrix. All right, here we go. Take care.